I'm able to draw out these positive connotations in a symbolic way and understand why I see things the way I see them, and see then how the world can see something different. So it comes down to perception and understanding that way too. Hi, my name is Teresa Lyle. I'm a visual artist from Derry. Within my work, I look at depression and anxiety due to being diagnosed with a mental illness. I suffer with dysthymia, a persistent depressive disorder, which means I suffer low mood for the majority of the time, and I have suffered it since I was 14 years of age. So although I can suffer periods of happiness, I will always have this underlying lowness that I have to deal with. Alongside that, I can experience a double depression, which is that ongoing low mood, but then another level of depression on top of that, which then is known as a major form of depression then, as all the emotions and the lowness are a lot more heightened. I think I was 28 by the time it took a massive turn where I suffered a proper kind of breakdown. I lost everything, had to leave me work and things, and so I then sought help through the proper channels, through my GP, through support lines that are available, and I began on a journey then to understand that I was suffering from depression, and it wasn't something that was part of my personality. But because I was suffering this low mood for such a long time, I felt that it was part of my personality, and it was part of me. So once I had lost everything, I picked up a camera and I started to take photographs, and I enrolled in a part-time course in the Tech in Derry to start to learn more about photography. And from there I just really loved the medium. There was just something within it that I felt a release and started to feel like a feeling of joy when I would take an image. And it might have meant nothing to anybody else, but to me, I was able to reflect on it and pull elements within that image that started to talk to me and tell me about me. And I just started to understand myself a little better. And ever since, I've used photography primarily as a tool to help with healing and recovery. It's that old cliche, isn't it? Photography captures a moment in time and makes it a memory. Where for me, photography and taking these self-portraits and manipulating them takes a memory and brings it out for me into real life. It's out of my head, it's there, it's physical, and I can begin to work through it, and then let go. I can put it down, and it's kind of that real feeling of letting something go. I've tended to hold on to a lot of things from the past, and difficulty working through things. So photography has really given me that process of taking the image, taking that memory, bringing it out, drawing out what is holding me back within that image, and then moving forward, letting it go. Just really working through a therapeutic process of recovery in a more abstract way, opposed to, going through general therapies and things like that.
My name is Paul McCabe. I was born in West Belfast in the 70s. Growing up in West Belfast in the 70s and 80s, there was a lot going on, so I would say a lot of people suffered trauma due to the Troubles in them days. My trauma happened when I was very young, when I was 7, so that largely impacted the way that I seen the world, my trust issues and things that I didn't recognise as a kid, obviously. And in them days there wasn't exactly large amounts of help about for mental health. So my escape was to run, so that's what I did. When I was old enough, I left here and didn't come back till I was older. And it's then coming back in my early 30s when I realised just how severe my trauma was. That's when I knew that I had to find some way of helping myself. So that's where my journey began, with trying to heal my mental health. I've always been into the arts since I was young. From a very young age, I always used art to express myself. And them days I didn't know that I was expressing myself by my art, but when I was angry, I would paint the wardrobes in the house or cut up the blankets and make a waistcoat. And obviously, that's not the type of things you do, but that's just the way I had of dealing with the world. I always used art, sometimes not in the right ways. But when I came back then to West Belfast, I learned about Belfast Exposed. They worked and had received awards for working with people with mental health problems. So I was already starting to see a psychologist for my mental health. So I decided to combine the two and decided to take up photography again. And that's when my passion arose again for photography. And conjoining that with treating my mental health, it's just been a journey that I would recommend to anyone. Photography was different. Photography helped me focus more because it was not just the art of photography, but the skill. I had to relearn the settings, composition. There was just so much opened up for me to challenge myself with that it took my mind off all the rest of the things that I had in my head, and focusing that energy and seeing an image at the very end that I've created with my skills or whatever, and with my own hands, then that gave me like a feeling of peace, of happiness that it can't be bought. And it just simply looking at art didn't do that enough for me. I needed to be able to create something that other people can see as beautiful or interesting. At the start of the project, a door, a frame, and the number 52, I didn't even own an expensive camera. I had a small and expensive holiday camera and my mobile phone. And one day I was taking the rubbish out, I think it was 2018, and I spotted this back door and it was completely covered with weeds right up to the top. It was a green door and it had the number 52 in white and it was shining in the sun. That's when I took the first photograph, and then I started to become obsessed with the back door. It was just every time I was out I took a photograph until eventually I was taking them every day. I never realised just how much it was affecting me, the different ways that I had seen the door. And I had started doing a project, Finding the Light, about mental health and about looking for the light in dark places using photography. And I kind of just kept rotating back to the door. So I decided to add with the frame the other photographs that I'd taken in the project Finding the Light and combine the two projects. And that's when I spoke to Deirdre, and Deirdre focused me on the one project. And hopefully by seeing these images, other people will realise that there's a lot more you can do apart from just seeing a therapist or taking medication. You can go into the arts, photography in particular in my case, and that helps a lot with the mental health and can help focus you and help with your social skills and many other things.
I'm Marvin Smith. I'm the Community Engagement Manager at Belfast Exposed, and we use therapeutic photography as a method of creative engagement with both individuals and groups right across our both statutory and community sectors. Therapeutic photography itself lends to actually engaging with people and let them explore themselves. A lot of the issues that we talk about are trauma, a lot of legacy issues, but also within the community aspect too, the social issues that are within communities. We would engage with communities to raise awareness and highlight issues that are important to them within this type of engagement that we use. Photography in itself is a very accessible form of art. To come, you can use your phone, you don't need expensive cameras. The photographs within themselves reveal a bit about you, and you can build up the confidence then to share your photographs, which is the catalyst then for dialogue between people and building peer-to-peer support within the groups of people. And many of the people never have met before. They're being removed from isolation. We move forward, particularly from COVID. A lot of people have that sort of aspect now where they're coming from COVID and moving forward to engage with people again, engage with organisations again. Photography is one of those methods, particularly therapeutic photography, where people can actually reflect in themselves as well as developing the healing powers that therapeutic photography gives.
Therapeutic photography has been really, really beneficial with our clients. We have found that our clients have found new interests. As an occupational therapist, we are always trying to get people into meaningful activity, things that are purposeful to them. And we have found that our clients have found this really beneficial. We've had clients who have went and bought their own SLR cameras following a group, and they've actually taken it up as a hobby. We've had clients who just even using their phone week by week have just noticed little small things that they see every day, but they've become to appreciate them, and it's really impacted their mental health, making more positive outcomes. They have really enjoyed the groups. They've been really beneficial on their mental health and just overall health. They've been more positive, and taking up that meaningful activity and seeing the outcomes of how it's really helped them has just been fantastic. So Belfast Exposed has been brilliant, and especially Mervyn.
For over 40 years, Belfast Exposed has led the way, challenging, shaping and bringing meaning to our culture and society. Our mission is to enrich people's lives through photography. There's clear evidence that art can support people's mental health. Photography is the newest art form, invented approximately 200 years ago. Its name translated means drawing from light and mainly used for documentary purposes at the time. Now it has become one of the most exciting forms of contemporary visual arts and a natural therapeutic aid. At Belfast Exposed, we amplify all of that in the work that we do. We place people at the heart of our work, and we search for new ways to make photography relevant to our people and our communities. As a post-conflict society, Northern Ireland has both a high prevalence of intergenerational trauma and above average rates of mental health diagnosis. In fact, mental health here in Northern Ireland is 25% higher than the rest of the UK. This means that the work we do with people is from a wide-ranging concerns, and we do this on a daily basis. We know photography can have a positive mental health and well-being. It can boost self-esteem, enhance confidence, memory and decision-making, and the things that they want to remember. A photograph is a powerful enough tool that will not only remind them of an event or detail, it can bring them back to the sense of feelings, sounds and even smells of the moment. In its simplest use, it can be a form of mindfulness and a pleasurable experience. When used as therapeutic photography in the work that Belfast Exposed does, it can also be used to heal.
Photography has been, apart from my therapy with my psychologist, photography has definitely been like the main thing there that has helped me. I would recommend to anyone to take up art. In particularly, for me, photography has worked. Not just learning the skill, but being able to see the world through a different lens, if you like, and to be able to focus my work in a project, which I am learning at Belfast Exposed, and get it out there for other people to see has been empowering to me. And I believe my message is that other people who see my project can look at it and say that they can do something for themselves, they can do something similar and understand their own way of thinking, which is really important.